Good afternoon, YouTube. Hello, you beautiful, shimmering souls. Thank you for checking into Matt Yari's latest YouTube video as I drive home from the gym yet again. Getting freaking jacked. Look at that bicep. You ever seen a bicep like that? Probably not. Today, what am I talking about? Just gonna go on my usual ranting and rambling. Let this little brain of mine do what it does. See what comes out. Been listening to a Neville Goddard video. So it was about a year ago. Started listening to these Neville Goddard lectures on YouTube. And so Neville Goddard was a guy who, I don't know, it was about 100 years ago in the 1930s or something, learned from this guru that the secret, when they talk about manifestation, is that your external world, this material world that we experience and interact with, is a reflection of your internal world. And then I was listening to an audiobook of Jed McKenna, his book Spiritual Enlightenment, The Darndest Thing. And one of the big points that Jed McKenna hammers is very similar, where he talks about how all spiritual enlightenment is. Well, let's put it this way. When we dream at night, and we're like, oh, I was running away from a tiger, and then I jumped into a pond made out of chocolate syrup, and then I woke up, and then I was like, oh, it was just a dream, right? We have this understanding that at night, when you have these dreams, that it's not real. It's not materially real. It's just sort of something that your brain, your mind created. And we're able to disconnect from the significance of whatever happened, you know? Like if a loved one dies in a dream, you may wake up feeling kind of shaken, but you recognize that your loved one didn't really die. It wasn't real. Your dream wasn't real. Jed McKenna makes the claim, the assertion, I don't know what you want to call it, that your waking life is also just one big dream. And we have this belief, this illusion, that this material experience, that there is something real about it, because of its consistency. Every time you wake up, it sort of builds off of whatever happened before, right? But he makes the claim that the truth is this material existence, your day-to-day waking existence, is really one big long dream with a few minor experiential differences, but we get so caught up in the happenings of our lives and believing that we're experiencing something very real. But what if this is all just one big dream? What if this car, this actual thing, I can touch it and feel it with my senses? What if it's not any more real than the dream I had last night? And I had a really cool dream last night. I had a dream. I don't really remember like the exact details of like what I was doing and who was there and what happened and how. But it was very the lesson from the dream, the thing I took away from it. It all sort of came together at the end with this big realization that all social interactions are an energetic exchange. It's hard for me to explain it more than that, but whatever energy, whatever state you are holding on to yourself, that is what you put out into your social interactions. It's when you interact with people. That was my dream last night. But anyways, I'm talking about how life is a dream. And I started talking about Neville Goddard, where he talks about your experience in this world as a reflection of your internal experience. So if internally you feel and believe that life is hard, that life is unhappy, that people are cheaters and things like that, then your life is going to reflect that. You're going to draw those experiences in, and vice versa. You essentially get to determine, according to these people's ideas, what this waking experience, this big giant dream, is actually going to be like. And I've been sort of playing around with that idea for the last year. Ever since I started listening to Neville Goddard and heard his teachings, I've been making a more conscious effort to just put myself in an emotional state that matches the life that I want to live. So I've been making more of a conscious effort to notice when I'm feeling down and try to understand, okay, why am I feeling down? Or when I'm feeling pessimistic. That's probably a better description of it. When I feel pessimistic, I'm starting to catch myself, and rather than dwell in it, just take a moment, take a few deep breaths, and just imagine an amazing future, just the best future that I can think of for myself. A successful future financially, with, fulfilling relationships, joy, creative expression, all those things. And how would I feel if that was my reality right now? And then I just take a moment to just feel that. They said the key is feeling, right? Feeling is the language of the universe. It has been very interesting to see what has been going on this past year, what I've made more and more of a conscious effort to practice life in that way. It seems more opportunities are coming to my way, and I'm much more optimistic, and it's so much easier to take action, right? It's not just when I talk about manifestation, right? Like you sit there and magically meditate and things just happen. I think that's a component of it. I think you have to put yourself in that mental and emotional state of what is it going to feel like in your ideal world. And then you have to go and physically do the work. You have to interact with reality in that emotional state. And it's been really cool, and I recommend it. So you have control over how you feel. You don't necessarily have total immediate control over what happens externally, although I do think that what happens externally is a reflection of, or I should say it's more of an echo of your past emotional state. It's like you put out these signals and then it comes back to you in a physical form, right? So that's it. That's my little talk today. Hopefully it didn't sound completely fucking retarded. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good day.